what we need is an overarching theory. But I don't mean that as, one theory that explains everything, but a theory of the struggle. It's all very well to talk about the resistance, but what is the theory? Is the theory back the Democratic Party in 2018? Is the theory back the Democratic Party in 2022? What's the theory? There seems to be the theory that's in motion. Or is the theory build popular power where you live and don't allow the political process to silence people's dreams? If that's the theory, we have to build it to something much more elaborate. We have to make cathedrals of our ideas. Right now, we are making tiny little temporary shacks. Temporary shacks don't inspire people to go on the street and take the beatings from the state. You have to believe in something. You have to believe in a future. One of the great tragedies of our last 35 odd years is that the concept of the future has disappeared. We have a concept of tomorrow. We all know there'll be a tomorrow. We'll go to sleep, tomorrow will come. But we don't have a concept of the future. We believe in a sense that there's kind of an endless present. What we have today continues endlessly. You make some small adjustments. You tell a police officer, please don't shoot. At least ask a few questions, or, don't shoot into a car that's driving away. We don't mind you. Just don't behave quite like that. Okay, be a little more polite in your brutality. So in that sense, we've lost control of the future. Can you not imagine a world where the police is not an occupying force? Can you imagine a world where security concerns are taken care of by a community? Can you imagine a world where, for instance, you have an economy that is constructed in such a way that people's needs are taken care of? Can we imagine a world where people don't have to have 6 houses when 6 people have no houses? Can we imagine those worlds? Can we imagine a world, just to give you a concrete suggestion, where every president doesn't build a presidential library? Where instead of every president doesn't get a holiday anymore. Now we have generic President's Day. Why not in DC build a president's library? Everybody gets a room. Why should all this real estate be given to presidents' libraries? Why not build an edifice and have it as new homes for the poor? Why not that? Why can't we imagine that? Why is it that all this stuff sounds idealistic? To me, this is all reality. What's idealistic is the entrepreneurial discourse. That's completely crazy. Everybody knows that's not going to work. So if that's not going to work and you have people starving, why not have kitchens where people can come and eat? What a great place for a community, to build respect for itself, rather than have to avoid the eyes of somebody starving on the street. Pretend they're not asking you for money. Step away, make that necessary detour. Why not produce places where they can live with dignity so you don't have to feel embarrassed? That's, to me, a pressing question. So, you asked, what is the one thing we can do? The one thing we can do is, we know that in our society, whatever kind of society, capitalistic, socialistic, whatever, there will be a percentage of the population, that needs to be loved differently. They have some mental issues, they have other issues. Why not just say our social wages must go towards tending to their needs? Why assume everybody is an individual and equal? So that's the kind of society we need to imagine. And I think, again, I just want to emphasize, it's the opposite of idealism. It's actually reality. That every time you ignore somebody who's poor on the street, you're acknowledging their presence. And it's making you feel small to acknowledge their presence. You have some theory, I don't want to give money because, I don't know. I saw a guy on Michigan Avenue with a sign, need money for weed. Straightforward. I gave him $1. Said, enjoy, smoke one for me. Why do we have this feeling when we see people who are in need? And there are millions of people like that. Why do we say, okay, it's better for them to build crystal meth labs in their farms, than build dignified lives of another kind? It's the assumption we have. We know that it's wrong to behave like that, but we don't want to do anything to take care of the problem. We ignore it. So those are practical issues. They are not idealistic. So that's one. But I'll give you a very, very practical idea, which is tantamount to the clown idea. I'd like to just ask you, in your thinking, you are a young person, you're thinking ahead in your life. Why is it that you're thinking in terms of your career? Why do you spend more time worrying about your career than about your life? I mean, in a funny way, we live our lives daily. The future concept is for history and for civilization. But as individuals, we live our lives daily. We wake up in the morning, then we wake up the next morning, we wake up the next morning. Why don't we spend more time thinking about what kind of people we would like to be than what kind of career we want to have? Career is such a narrowing of what it is to be a human. But they'll have at our colleges big career development spaces where they train you to get careers. Because they are also worried about raising money and things like that. They want you to get big jobs, you'll donate more. They have a vested interest in careerizing you. But I don't care about your career. I care about what kind of person you will be. And what kind of person you will be is linked to what kind of community you live in. Because you cannot be a good person if your community is corrosive. Because you cannot be a good person if you have to walk around a poor person and pretend they don't exist.